Sir, if you don't mind, sir,
Rejoined.
sir, I mean, I really will appreciate. You people have, my colleagues have answered for 5 days. I have not uttered a word throughout. So please allow me to at least argue in my own way.
Rejoinder, my lord, appointment of VP in Lok Sabha. Right?
Well, if you want, I can sit down and the court can decide, since you are the master of the ceremonies here. It is the last page of the submission, Maharaj. That was the pages of my rejoinder. What we have to meet and what the issues are. Well, I think that we seem to have been, we are somewhat innocent of the manner in which people are represented in the House and who a legislator owes his duty to. Well, as your Lordship knows that under the 1950 Representation of People's Act, Maharaj, you have a delimitation. And in each state, a delimitation takes place and the territorial constituencies, Maharaj, are carved out. So the elections takes place with respect to those territorial constituencies in each state, and the number is already, Maharaj, fixed. So, Maharaj, under the Representation of People's Act, first under the Constitution, under Article 170, people are directly elected from the territorial constituencies. And, Maharaj, there is a process by which, Maharaj, they are elected. That process is also, Maharaj, elaborately set out in the conduct of election rules. First, there's a nomination that takes place, Maharaj. The nomination takes place pursuant to your party nominating you and giving you the symbol on the basis of which you go to the returning officer and say, I am the nominee of the party and this is my symbol, which represents the party. After which, Maharaj, the election takes place. And when the election takes place and the votes are counted, Maharaj, the returning officer then gives you a certificate saying that you have been elected from this party. A copy of that is sent to the Election Commission. It's all set out here, so you'll watch it. At the moment, I'm just broadly. A copy of that is sent to the Election Commission, and the Election Commission conveys that to the Speaker of the Assembly. What is it that I'm trying to say? The only identity of a legislator recognized in the House is that he is a member of the party. He has no other identity. 2 members, 3 members, 20 members, 34 members can't have an identity outside of that. That's the basic constitutional question. Give your Lordships an example, Let's forget about 34. A small party in Goa has 5 members. 2 of them go to the Speaker, to the Governor, and say, I'm not going to support this government. And those 2 Maharaj actually tilt the balance and the government can fall. So the Governor will call a floor test.
Sorry?
Will the Governor call a floor test? Forget majority, even the minority cannot topple the government. If this is the procedure in law that we have to follow. We are back to Ayaram Gayaram. Why? Because you say, now your political affiliation doesn't matter. What matters is numbers. Democracy is not about numbers. It is numbers within a constitutional framework. What the legislators, the Speaker, the Governor recognizes are political parties. And you are a member of a political party, nothing less, nothing more. You have no other identity. And I tell your Lordships why I'm saying this. How are governments formed? Sarkaria Commission, remember, Maharaj? Largest single party who has a majority on the floor of the House, the Governor will call him to form the government, the leader to form the government. If that's not possible, comes the second, and that's political party now. Second, pre-poll alliance of what? Of political parties. That's the second, if they form the majority. 3, post-poll coalition.
What is the first?
Single largest political party. Second is pre-poll alliance of what? Of political parties. Could be 1, it could be 2, it could be 3. Third is post-poll coalition, which is what the Uddhav government was. Post-poll coalition of political parties. And the fourth is post-poll alliance of political parties. The Governor, under Article 168 of the Constitution, is not a member of the Legislative Assembly, but he is part of the legislature. He can't recognize anybody other than political parties. That is the constitutional fundamental framework within which the House functions. That's why we did away with Gayaram, Ayaram. He is part of the legislature, but not a member of the Legislative Assembly.
Of course.
So he only recognizes, because he's part of the legislature, the political parties, the legislative parties. That means my identity is associated with my party in the House. I have no separate identity. Otherwise, mothers 10 from one party, 2 from another party, 3 from another party will go to the governor and make the government fall. And then my learned friend's argument, see, the governor is fully satisfied that you have lost the confidence of the House because 10, 2 and 3, along with the present dispensation, make the majority. So you back on Ayaram Gayaram days. The whole purpose of the 10th schedule is to get rid of it. Numbers in the House will not make governments fall. It is the alliance of parties in the House that will make the government fall. And that's the application of mind of the governor when he decides to ask for a trust vote. See the havoc it will cause. All you need to do is to look up numbers, and they will say, Malats, on public platforms that it is a call of conscience. Malats, we know the extent of their conscience. They'll go to the governor and say, see, we give you the numbers now. This is my letter to you. We are now the majority. This government, this chief minister has lost the confidence of the House. See the numbers. And it will be argued that, look, it's demonstrated that it doesn't have the majority and therefore hold the floor test. You see the consequences of this argument on the democratic polity of this country. That's one issue, Malats, I will deal with. I just want to point out. Number 2, even more important, which is something that I mentioned earlier also, and in detail, Malats, in my note, and which they did not comment on at all. All the council have not commented on the concept of the whip. In fact, I was really surprised when my learned colleague, Malats, Mr. Kaul, gave to your lordships a letter of Mr. Sanjay Raut. Your lordships will remember that, saying, no, actually, it is the legislative, it is the leader of the House who appoints. It is the leader of the House who appoints the whip. Well, let's just kindly have a look at that letter. It is the last page of the submission, Malats, that was. Now, your lordship sees this. This is to the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. Lordship sees that. And 13th June 2019, which was handed over, Sanjay Raut writes to Malats, the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. That's what he pointed out. Have that document?
Yes, yes.
Says, respected sir, it is to inform you that Shiv Sena Parliamentary Party has nominated Rajan Vikhare, MP, as Chief Whip in Lok Sabha in place of Bhavana Gawali with immediate effect. Signed, Sanjay Raut, leader of Shiv Sena Parliamentary Party. Correct, Malats? Now just see the previous page. Sanjay Raut is a member of the Rajya Sabha, not a member of the Lok Sabha. He is appointing the leader in the Lok Sabha. Appointment of Shiv Sena Parliamentary Party leader for both houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Dear sir, Shiv Sena has the strength of so much in the Lok Sabha. Previous page, Malats. Vinayak Bhaura Raut is the Shiv Sena group leader in Lok Sabha, and Sanjay Raut represents Shiv Sena as group leader in Rajya Sabha. In addition to the above, I hereby appoint Sanjay Raut, member of Rajya Sabha, as Shiv Sena Parliamentary Party leader for both the houses of Parliament, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, as a facilitative measure. May I therefore request your esteemed office to take note of the same and communicate accordingly. And Malats, I gave to your lordships chapter and verse, Erskine May, all the authorities, Malats, as to how it is the political party that appoints the whip in the House. Paksh Pramukh. And this whole argument was jettisoned by showing this document, saying, see, Sanjay Raut is appointed. He's not even Malats a member of the Lok Sabha. He is empowered by the party. So this whole argument that I sat in Assam, appointed Gogamale as the whip, where does that come from in constitutional terms? 34 of you sitting in Assam in the lap of the BJP will appoint Gogamale as the whip and then come to court and say, look, we've already removed you. Under what power? So, Malats, because that was an argument made, Malats, because that justifies, what they say, that justifies the fact that Gogamale is the whip and he issued directions and he has to be obeyed. Malats, till the 4th, who was the political party recognized in the assembly? Shiv Sena. That was the political party. Who was the whip, Malaj? Sunil Prabhu. So the second submission that I wish to make to your lordships is,
First and second are more or less both men. Basically saying that whips are actually appointed only by the political party.
That's right.
That's it's a simple point.
that's simple, very simple points. Appointed, so Malaj, the whip has to be obeyed. Sunil Prabhu had to be obeyed. On third, Sunil Prabhu issued a whip that you cannot vote for the BJP candidate as speaker. Whip was disobeyed. He cannot appoint himself as the leader because Ajay Chaudhary became the leader on the 21st of June itself when we removed Eknath Shinde. That removal of Eknath Shinde and appointment of Ajay Chaudhary was conveyed to the Speaker of the House. The Speaker of the House recognized it. So how could the governor call Eknath Shinde? Who is Eknath Shinde? I'm talking in constitutional terms, Malaj. Argument is Eknath Shinde was the group leader. Where was it? Under which law? Which group? You can't arrogate yourself the powers of the party. Sitting in Assam, being entertained by another party, publicly saying that another party is fully supporting me, and changing the constitution of the House as if you are the political party. That's the second, which I will argue, Malaj. I won't take too long, Malaj, just so that we reduce the level of controversy. Number three, my learned friend, my colleague, Mr. Kaul, Malaj, argued that I am the party. He says, I am the party. I am the Shiv Sena. Well, on what constitutional basis can people with 34 members say they are the Shiv Sena? Are they recognized by the Election Commission as the Shiv Sena? Shiv Sena is a registered political party with a political leadership, Malaj, intimated to the Election Commission under Section 29A of the Representation of People's Act. The moment the recognition takes place under Section 29A, that is the decision of the Election Commission, which is final. That decision was not overturned by anybody when all this happened till the 4th of July. So, Malaj, how can Eknath Shinde's group of 34 say, I am the political party? It has no constitutional basis. And for 5 days we have heard this, Malaj. I am not saying that I have split. I am not saying that I am the faction. I am saying I am Shiv Sena. So if I say I am Shiv Sena, I am Shiv Sena in constitutional terms. Next point, Malaj, which is even more important. Malaj, your lordships will remember that under paragraph 3 of the 10th schedule, which was deleted later by the 91st constitutional amendment, the expression is that if there is a faction in the legislative party arising out of a split in the political party, and that faction represents 1/3 of the legislative party, then that will be a valid defense against a disqualification petition. What it is. So what is the expression used there? I am a faction of the legislative party, resulting from a split in the political party. Now, he says that we 34 are the political party. He says, I'm not a faction. There's no split. But Malaj, when he goes to the Election Commission, what does paragraph 15 say? That if there are two factions of a political party who claim to be that political party, it doesn't use the word split. Then the commission will decide which is that political party. So before you, they say, I am the political party. And before the Election Commission, they say, I am a faction. Because if he is the political party, he need not go to the Election Commission. Why is he going to the Election Commission? He says there's no difference between the legislative party and the political party, which is Malaj, a mockery of the 10th schedule itself. Because the whole purpose, Malaj, of differentiating was that members of the legislative party will not do acts which amount to voluntarily giving up membership of the party or vote against the whip, which will result in defection. The whole purpose of the 10th schedule is to differentiate between the legislative party and the political party. And the whole argument is there is no difference between the legislative party and the political party. I am the political party. But if you are the political party, why did you move the Election Commission? Well, let's take, for example, 3 people out of 5 belonging to the Congress party. They are a majority. They go to the governor of Goa and say, I am the political party. We're the majority. Topple this government. Numbers are stacked against, government will be toppled. They will never go to the election commission. Why? Because there is the Congress party outside. What will the governor do? Governor, you think, on their logic, governor will have to call a trust vote, because the best way, Bomai says, the best way is to find out from a trust vote. All judgments of law are contextual, unless there's an underlying basic principle like basic structure. Otherwise, all judgments are contextual. When your lordships decided on Shivraj Chauhan, the context was what? 22 resignations. Context.
And 6 were accepted.
Yes, 6 accepted. Not only that, 13th of March, governor tells him to hold to call the assembly, which is called on 14th March, and hold the trust vote on the 14th. The chief minister says, no, I adjourned it. He didn't put it in the agenda. He adjourned it to 26th March, if your lordships will remember. So he adjourns it to 26th March. Then the petitions are filed. Saying, how have you adjourned it to 26th of March? Because the governor told you, matter comes to this court, and your lordship says, look, this is the best, because all those 22 letters of resignation are with the governor. Then your lordship said another thing, which I'll read later to your lordship. Your lordship said, as far as the disqualification is concerned, who stopped you from disqualifying? That's paragraph 82 of your lordship's judgment, where your lordship said this. Nothing stopped the governor, the speaker to disqualify if he wanted to disqualify. But once people have resigned, so it was in the context of 22 resignations, context of 6 of them having been accepted on the 14th of March itself on the advice of the chief minister. Speaker accepts them. And your lordships ask the question, what's the difference between those 6 and the other 16? There's no difference. They have come, the signatures are there, they have given to the governor. What else can we do? And who stopped you from disqualifying? What has Shivraj Chauhan got to do with this matter? There's no bearing. We're dealing with what? We're dealing with 34 people, which is a faction. They can't not say they're not a party, that they are the party, because they can't be the party. It's a faction. How does the governor recognize a faction? Under what constitutional parameters does the government say, I recognize you, and therefore I'll call a floor test? It's not a game of numbers. So if you actually hold their submissions to be correct, you're bringing back the regime of Ayagam Gayaram, because anybody can collect the numbers in the manner that they are collected nowadays, whisk them away to any other state, keep them in comfort. I don't want to use a stronger word. And then let's come back and topple the government. And you'll have no recourse. Next is even more important.
You're saying 3/4 is also a split.
Yeah. Exactly.
According to you, even 3/4 will be split.
That's correct. That's still a faction. That's why 3 was eliminated. You can't have sort of factions moving out, because we know how these numbers are collected. Then I remember, I showed you Kuleep Nayyar's case, where all that was set out. More important, whereas they have only on the today in court argued that they are the party. Not a single document, right from the 21st of June, till they file the petition. Even there they do not say, till the 19th of July. Whole argument is, I am the party. Where have you said ever that you are the party? Never. Not a single document. This is a mockery, Malaj, that's happening in our country. And I said, Malaj, and I repeat it, it's not about Maharashtra. It's about Meghalaya. It's about Manipur. It is about tomorrow Uttar Pradesh. It is about anything can happen anywhere if you allow this to happen. It's about our future. So, Malaj, they never say that they are the party. Even if that, your ladyship will remember that document on the 28th of June that was read. First of all, let me disabuse you of this whole thing about violence, violence, violence. On the 27th, when we moved this court, they moved this court. My learned friend was there, I was not there. On 27th, Malaj, a statement was made by Mr. Kaushik, who was Mr. Chitnis. Yes, saying that Mr. Chitnis, learned counsel for the state of Maharashtra, states that adequate steps have already been taken, and the state government has further ensured that no harm is caused to the lives, liberty, and properties of the 39 MLAs and their families. This on the 27th, and the governor is arguing, Malaj, on the 28th there was a danger, there'll be dead bodies, it'll be post-mortem. when on 27th a statement has been made by Mr. Chitnis, who represents the Maharashtra government, under the supervision of the Supreme Court, can anybody say that, look, dead bodies will be sent for post-mortem? This is a 27th June order, and that was repeated again and again and again. If I were to go to the newspaper reports and what they have said in Assam, that your lordships are not going to enter into that. And the unfortunate part of it, and I say unfortunate deliberately, the very thing that we wanted to prevent happened. When your lordships did not grant us stay, fine, no issue. But we went to the election commission, we told the election commission that, look, these are the very 39 people whose candidature as a member of the Legislative Assembly is subject to the Supreme Court. So please don't decide this matter till that is decided. No stay did not mean that you decide no matter what happens. They misinterpreted that order deliberately, not the commission, but the other side. And said, no, Supreme Court has said no stay, you have to decide. And then what did the election commission do? On the basis of these 39, they've got the symbol. Only on the basis of these 39. So what are we here today? Today they argue, now we are the party, because you got the symbol. So on 27th of June, we are put in difficulty. 29th of June, we are put in difficulty. And then in September, when your lordships passed this order, they misinterpreted. 27th September. The next point, your lordships will have to consider, and I'll be very short, tomorrow, so that we can finish this quickly. Next point is, they have been saying that under the mandatory rules, 7 days notice ought to be given. Correct, How many days notice have they got now? They've not filed reply till date. 9 months? And I asked myself this question, when this court said, don't file your reply till the 12th of July, was it 7 days? Is it fair of the court, I'm sorry to say, if that is the mandatory rule, then you should have said 7 days from the date? Shorter period? 12th date, and that also in the interim. And 9 months have passed. And then Murray's argument is this is a fait accompli. See the arithmetic. Even if the 16 had been disqualified, you would still be in minority. And I think Mr. Salve was right. That's all speculation. What would have happened, what would not have happened. Maybe the others would have voted in our favor. But that's all speculation. Your lordships are not concerned about that, what the arithmetic is. And see the injustice caused to us, in this process. So they don't file a reply. Now they say, go back to the speaker. And there is no one fact which is not admitted on both sides. That they have 34, majority in the legislative party, admitted. We don't deny it. That they were sitting in Assam, they admit. That they sent that resolution throwing out Sunil Prabhu, they admit. That they appointed Gogavale, they admit. And what's interesting is in that resolution that they sent, where your lordship said the only 2 prayers that are made are that Gogavale is appointed. But see the language as far as Eknath Shinde is concerned. He continues to be the leader. The word continue. But how did they realize that the word continue has to be used? Because we had removed him on 21st. And on 22nd, they dated the letter 21st and sent it to the speaker, received by the speaker on the 22nd at 11:30 a.m. So they knew that Eknath Shinde had been removed. Otherwise, they would have said that Eknath Shinde is the leader. But they said, no, Eknath Shinde continues to be the leader. And they backdated that document. So, that's not disputed. That we called a meeting on the 21st, 22nd, not disputed. We told them if you don't attend, consequences will follow, not disputed. On 24th, we had a council meeting, not disputed. They said, but nobody called the council meeting. We'll hold a parallel meeting of our own, not disputed. What is disputed? That on the 28th, the governor received these documents which have been placed before your lordships, not disputed. That he called for a floor test, not disputed. That he resigned, the chief minister, then chief minister resigned, not disputed. That he went to the governor along with Mr. Fadnavis, not disputed. That he was sworn in, not disputed. That there was a trust vote, and we issued a whip, not disputed. That they voted against the whip, not disputed. What is disputed? Nothing is disputed. From the beginning to the end, the whole process is clearly political, clearly political. And whereas I want to know, your lordship knows about it, that a whip is appointed at the instance of the political party and conveyed to the speaker. That's conveyed to the speaker. How is the governor talking about the whip being Gogagle? He's talking about Gogagle being the whip in his communications. He's not concerned with it. That's a matter of the House.
Governor spoke of, not
Gogagle.
Gogagle.
Gogagle being the whip.
Spoke of leader of the house, right?
That also. How is he?
He was the whip,
I think also leader of the House.
leader of the house, Shinde.
Yes. Now, how is he concerned with it? He is not there to appoint the leader of the House or to recognize. Yes. He says a purported appointment of Ajay Chaudhary is illegal. How is he concerned with this? See all this, the letter that he is sending to the Thackeray.
Governor's letter.
Yes. Governor is saying all this.
You're referring to
Where
para
is it,
3.
Karya?
Yes, para.
That is a letter to Uddhav Thackeray
Yes.
Ah,
Yes.
for holding the trust.
So why is he? Yes.
Trust
Correct.
board का जो letter लिखा
Correct.
था.
And he's saying all this. How is he concerned? And if they continue to be the Shiv, I'm grateful to your lordship when your lordship asked. If he is the Shiv Sena, then where is the loss of confidence? There's no loss of confidence then. What he's doing is he's recognizing 34 people to be a faction. And on the basis of that recognition, then determining that there should be a trust vote. That's what he's doing. The fact of the matter is in law, he cannot recognize. And neither Bomai, nor Shivraj Chauhan, nor any of those judgments will come in the
The
way.
solicitor argued towards the latter part. He said that what they said in their letter was that we wanted to withdraw support from the MVA government.
Yes.
So he said this in effect was therefore a withdrawal of support to the government.
Let's assume, Malaj. I will assume that against me. That can happen in any situation, Malaj. Any 2 people, 4 people, 7 people, 12 people, 30 people can withdraw support. They may be members of the legislature. That is why the whole purpose, Malaj, of the Constitution, Article 170 onwards, and to only recognize political parties, the whole purpose is that. That's why Kyoto says, Malaj, that you cannot, you don't have any other identity. Integrity of the political party and the political process. That's why. I will accept all that, Malaj. That's exactly the Ayaram Gayaram test.